If your last name is on this list, your blood didn't begin in these mountains. It began 3,000 miles away, in a glen your family was burned out of at the point of a bayonet, and the only reason you exist is that they survived the crossing. 10 surnames, 10 Highland clans. And if you carry one of these names in Tennessee, in West Virginia, in Kentucky, or the Carolinas, you already know you're Scottish somewhere back there. What you might not know is which clan, which battle, and which specific catastrophe put your people on a boat. Stay until number 1, because that name carries a survival the Crown spent 2 centuries trying to wipe out of the record completely. Number 10. Campbell. You already know the Campbell root, crooked mouth, and you already know the reputation. So here's the part that doesn't make the usual videos. A huge share of the Campbells who ended up in the Carolina backcountry didn't sail straight from Argyll. They came through Ulster first, planted in the north of Ireland by the Crown, then pushed across the Atlantic a generation later when the rents climbed and the land gave out. Scots-Irish, in the American sense, but Highland Campbell in the blood. And they didn't arrive quiet. Campbell men marched at King's Mountain in 1780, the fight that broke the British grip on the southern colonies, under Colonel William Campbell himself. So, if you're a backcountry Campbell, your line didn't just survive the crossing. It turned around and helped win the war that built the country you're standing in. Hold that, because the clan at number 6 has a 300-year reason to hate you for it. Number 9. MacGregor. Though if your family's been in these hills a long time, you might be carrying it as Greer. Greer. Gregory. Maybe just Greg, and never knew why. You know the name was proscribed. What matters for you is the timing. King James outlawed the surname in 1603, and the ban ran until 1774, around 170 years. Look at that second date. It lands in the exact decade your ancestors were boarding ships for the colonies. So the MacGregors didn't just change their name to survive in Scotland. Some of them were still carrying a fake name when they walked up the gangplank, and only dug the real one back up once they were standing on a mountain no king could reach. If the old people in your family ever said, "We used to be MacGregors, we changed it," they were not telling a story. They were telling you the truth about a death sentence. Quick thing before number 8. If you've already found your name on this list, do me a favor and subscribe to blame your ancestors right now, because the names coming up get heavier, and number 1 is the one nobody else will tell you straight. Number 8. Murray. From Moy-Riab, the old region of Moray. You know it's territorial, and you know it's ancient. Here's the cut that got left out of every school book. The man who actually won Stirling Bridge in 1297 alongside Wallace was Andrew de Moray, a Murray. He took a mortal wound in that fight and died of it, and history handed the whole legend to Wallace and let Moray go dark. The clan never went dark. The Murrays spread wider across Scotland than almost any other name, and when the clearances hit, they spread wider still, into the Carolinas and Canada and the hills. If you're a Murray, your blood runs through the co-author of Scottish freedom that history decided to forget. You're allowed to remember him out loud. Number 7. Fraser. Norman root, de Frisell, the strawberry on the arms. You know the Lovat line, and you know how it ended. Simon Fraser, 11th Lord. Lovat, the last man in Britain beheaded by the axe, 1747, around 80 years old, for the 45. What gets skipped is what came after Culloden, when the army went through Fraser country burning homes on purpose, a deliberate program to break the clan as a clan. It did not break. Frasers crossed to Nova Scotia and poured down the wagon roads into the southern mountains, and the name is thick on the ground in Appalachia today. Your line begins with a knight and ends almost on a scaffold in London. Almost. That gap between the axe and the boat is the only reason you're here. Number 6. MacDonald. MacDonald. McDaniel, in a lot of southern lines, after a clerk at the docks heard it wrong. You know the Lords of the Isles. You know Glencoe, February 1692. Guests turning on hosts in the night, a Campbell at the head of the soldiers. And you know the feud is still alive, because 330 years later there are families in these mountains who will tell you, flat, never trust a Campbell, and could not tell you why if you press them. It's just in the blood by now. If you're a MacDonald and a Campbell both, and plenty of you are your own oldest war, fought out at family reunions in East Tennessee. Tell me in the comments which side you land on, because I promise the other side is reading. Number 5. Stuart. Stuart. Stuart, even Stovall, when the spelling didn't survive the crossing. You don't need the Royal House lecture. You know the line gave you Mary, gave you the kings the risings were fought to restore, and you know that after Culloden the government banned the tartan itself by act of law, specifically to kill the clans as a people. The detail worth carrying. The families who refused to let go of that lost cause are exactly the ones who ended up in a place where no act of parliament could tell them what to wear, what to play, or what to name their sons. The mountains weren't just a refuge. For a Stuart, they were the one place the ban couldn't follow. If you're still here, you're not a casual viewer. You're the kind of person who actually wants the real history. So hit subscribe and let's keep going, because the last 4 are where it stops being a list and starts being personal. Number 4. Sinclair. St. Clair, Norman, gone fully Scottish in Caithness, the cold northern edge. You know Rosslyn, finished 1486, and you know the arguments that still haven't been settled about what's carved into it. Templars, Masons, relics. What's not in dispute is the hereditary Grand Mastership of Scottish Freemasonry that ran in the family for generations. When the far north was cleared, Sinclairs carried all of it to Canada and the American South, the chapel, the riddle, the old cold earldom. If you're a Sinclair, your blood holds a question scholars still can't close. Number 3. Ross. From Ross, the headland. Motto: Spem successus alit, success nourishes hope, which tells you exactly what kind of clan keeps fighting after it stops winning. And it stopped winning hard. Ross Shire became one of the worst killing grounds of the entire clearances. Families burned out of houses their people had held for 500 years so a landlord could run sheep. Here's the part that should put a chill in you if you're a Ross. The ship, Hector, the one they call the Scottish Mayflower, the vessel that opened the floodgates of Highland emigration to North America in 1773, sailed from Loch Broom. That's Ross country. The recruiting agent who filled her was a man named Ross. 189 souls aboard, 18 of them dead of smallpox before they made land. If your name is Ross, there is a real chance your people didn't choose the boat. The boat was the only thing left after the fire. Number 2. Cameron. From Camsron, Crooked Nose. You know Lochaber. You know the gentle Lochiel talked Charlie into landing in 1745, and you know what it cost. After Culloden, the army didn't just burn Cameron homes. They built Fort William at the throat of Cameron country for the express purpose of making sure the clan could never gather and rise again. Think about that. An empire decided your bloodline needed a permanent stone garrison to contain it. The Camerons crossed anyway, into Appalachia and the Canadian Maritimes, and the fort is a ruin now, and the name is standing in your shoes. The garrison's gone. You're still here. That's the whole story of this channel in one name. And now, number 1. This name wasn't just banned. It was hunted, hidden, and very nearly erased. And what survived only survived because ordinary people risked the rope to keep it alive long enough to get it onto a ship. Number 1. MacKinnon. MacKinnon. and carried in Southern families as love or sherry after the generations did their work. Son of the Fairborn, one of the oldest clans of the Inner Hebrides, sky seat older than written Scottish record. You may know the broad strokes. Here's it nailed down, because this is the one people get wrong. When Bonnie Prince Charlie was a fugitive after Culloden with a 30,000-pound bounty on his head, an absolute fortune, hunted across the Highlands by the entire British military, it was the MacKinnons who took him in. John MacKinnon and the old chief sheltered him in a cave on Skye and then personally rowed him to the mainland. For that, the chief was seized and thrown in prison in England. He was let out after a year only because he was 71 years old and not worth hanging, and the story goes he walked out still defiant, saying that if he ever had the Hanoverian king in his power, he'd return the favor and send him home too. The clan's lands were stripped. The names scattered into the diaspora, carried to Canada and the American South by families who left with nothing but the one thing the crown couldn't confiscate. If your name is MacKinnon, in any spelling, your blood sheltered a hunted prince when doing it was a death sentence, lost everything for the choice, and crossed an ocean to start over in a wall of blue mountains that, in the right glen at the right hour, looks exactly like the sky it left. 10 names, 10 clans, 10 roads out of the Highland mist, through a band name, a burned glen, a smallpox ship, and into the southern mountains, where a beaten, scattered, stubborn people looked at the Blue Ridge and decided, this will do. This looks like home. We'll build here. And they did, and you're the proof. Your name isn't just a name, it's a clan, a glen, a set of loyalties people died for, and a crossing your family survived when survival wasn't promised to anybody. The Crown tried to erase these names. The clearances tried to scatter them. And here they are, on a mountain an ocean away from where they started, still spoken out loud, still getting passed down, still yours. So drop your surname in the comments and tell me which clan your blood comes from. And if you know the real story, the ship, the port, the year, the holler your people finally stopped running in, tell that too, because those stories die when nobody says them. Subscribe to blame your ancestors. Every week we go deeper into the names people carry without ever knowing what they survived. The next Bloodline's already waiting.